Welcome to Man in America, a voice of reason in a world gone mad. And boy, is the world mad right now. I'm your host, Seth Holhouse. Thank you for joining me live tonight. Today's topic is Charlie Kirk, the assassination, or really, you could say the public execution of a very important figure in America. And there's two parts to the show. First off, check in with you, let you know how I'm doing, how I'm processing this, but also giving my perspective on what I'm seeing unfold, right? With the lone gunman that they've caught so quickly, again, in history, just keeps repeating itself. So I'll spend a little time just kind of updating you on where I'm at and how I'm analyzing this situation. It's not a deep dive. Probably next week I'll do a whole, hour plus long show into all the research and really kind of connecting the dots, just to give you, again, where I'm at, set the conversation. And then I want to spend the rest of the time just talking with you, just seeing how you're doing, how you're processing this, what you're seeing, the research that you're doing. And so I've got both the chats open. Actually, I've got more than one chat open, got a handful of chats open. And so any questions or comments you put in, I'll be going through those a little bit later in the show. I've also got some comments that came in from social media before the show, which I'll be addressing. And so this is really, that's what this show is tonight, is again, just us talking to each other, trying to make sense of this tragedy. And so before I jump into that, though, I have two sponsors that I'm excited to tell you about. First off is Chapter. So if you or a family member are on Medicare or turning 65 soon, please listen to this. Medicare enrollment is full of misinformation. Imagine that. And the more confused you are, the easier it is for scammers to steer you into overpriced plans that make them more money while claiming that they're unbiased. So Trump's DOJ just sued three of the biggest Medicare brokers in America for allegedly doing exactly that. The victims were Americans like you who deserve better. So I trust Chapter because I did my research. Chapter's advisors make Medicare simple and always put you first. They listen carefully, compare every plan, and help you get the most savings. On average, people save about $1,000, $1,100. So these guys won't push you to choose one plan over another. If you're already on the right plan, they'll tell you that. So instead of trying to get you to switch for their own financial gain. So choose the right Medicare plan for yourself with the trusted guidance from Chapter. So give them a call today at 773-801-5366. Again, that's 773-801-5366 to make sure that the Medicare plan works for you. Most people wish they had called them sooner. Again, 733-801-5366. And that's also in the description below. The other sponsor I'm very, very excited about, as I always am, is Brightcore. So Brightcore, Kim Bright, amazing woman, who's behind this company. Basically, look, every day our world's being poisoned. I think you know that by now. We're exposed to more chemicals sprayed into our skies, leaching into our food, polluting our air and water, pesticides, heavy metals, hormone disruptors, synthetic additives. These toxins are bombarding our bodies and destroying our health. But there's something you can do right now to fight back, and it starts in your gut. So Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition contains over 900 strains of beneficial probiotics that help flush toxins, restore gut balance, and support your immune system. When your gut is strong, your body can resist. You're going to feel the difference: better digestion, more energy, clearer thinking, stronger immunity, even improvements in your skin, hair, and metabolism. It's not just hype. Studies show that fermented foods like kimchi can help reduce risk of obesity, improve blood sugar, and support whole body wellness. Kimchi One's all natural, non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free, and 100% made in the USA by a company that actually cares about your health. And they're amazing patriots as well. So today, you can get an exclusive offer just for my viewers. 25% off with the code MANINAMERICA by clicking on the link in the description below, or call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. So give them a call now. It's 888-575-6488. And their educated staff will make sure that Kimchi One is right for you, of course. Again, 888-575-6488. All right. So jumping into the show tonight, there is a lot for us to go over. I'll pull up. I can already see that the chat is very active. So, which, let me make it a little smaller for you, which is exciting. If there's any bots, I'll warn you, any troublemakers, you are going to be kicked out of here. And yeah, we'll be addressing Red Pill 1964 says that Charlie Kirk is still alive. He was removed from his current role. So I'll talk about that, my thoughts about that. Also, Marty Huff, loved your deep dive on the transgender shooter, Seth. It was outstanding. Thank you. You're very welcome. I plan on doing a lot more of these deep dives. This is what I really, really enjoy. And if you haven't seen the show that I did last night about Civil War and the three-stage collapse of America, it's right there in the Rumble videos list. I highly, highly recommend it. I think it was a very important show. But I'm going to first start just with where I'm at, okay? So start with this video right here from Benny Johnson, who posted this. So the Utah governor, Spencer Cox, says all the evidence points to Charlie Kirk shooter acting alone. Wow, when have we heard that before? That's kind of strange. Wow, look at that. The lone shooter, the lone gunman. Okay, so here's a quick clip, 24 seconds. This is the Utah governor. Watch the body language of the governor. And I'll tell you already, I don't believe in the lone shooter. I don't believe in a lot of what the FBI is telling us. I think the story is full of holes. Now, I don't have some rock solid conclusion as to who the exact, who is behind it. I have some speculations, which I'll get into. But let's start with this. 24 seconds. Just watch the guy's body language. He doesn't look like someone who is telling the truth.
Do authorities believe that Tyler Robinson acted alone?
Yeah, yes, Brett. They're very confident right now. Obviously, the investigation is ongoing. They're still following every lead. We appreciate the public who has reached out, but every piece of evidence we have so far makes it very clear that the assassin acted alone.
So I saw you read from the belief.
Even look at that. Even look at his facial expression after he says the assassin acted alone. It just wow. What do you think?
That the assassin acted alone.
So I
don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I mean, for one, well, I gotta pull this up again. It's just kind of strange, isn't it? It's almost eerie how similar this guy looks to Oswald. I'm not saying they're the same people, but it's strange, isn't it? I mean, I refer to the Charlie Kirk assassination as JFK 2.0. Actually, I think it's actually far more traumatic than JFK for many reasons, especially because of the role of social media and because of the detail of the video of him and just the gore and the blood. To me, it was extremely traumatic. I'm still, even still today, I'm still feeling very, very just disturbed and sad. It's strange. It's like there's something deep about it. But I want to pull up this tweet from Mike Adams, my good friend Mike Adams over at Health Ranger. He says, MAGA, the FBI lied about J6. The FBI lied about the Hunter laptop. The FBI lied about Russia. They lied about Hillary Clinton's emails. The kidnapping of Michigan Governor Whitmer. They lied about 9/11. They lied about Oklahoma City, Waco, Texas, Randy Weaver, Butler, PA, Catholic extremism. But by God, they must be telling the truth this time. We got them. It's a good point. I appreciate Mike's humor always, but it's a good point. It's interesting how so many people have just said they don't believe anything the FBI says, yet there's a lot of major conservative accounts that are just taking this story hook, line, and sinker, and they're just trusting the FBI, yet there's all kinds of holes in the story. And is it because they've got Kash Patel at the front line? I don't know. But I want to play this. There's a video. This is Michael Savage, and it's a 2-minute video, 2 minute 23 seconds. Him kind of breaking down some of the details from the FBI story. He does a good job with it. He says the F word a couple of times. So if there's children, just have them cover their ears. Like I try to make this a family friendly show. I don't swear, especially on air. But I can't control sometimes people like this. So anyways, it's a little over 2 minutes. I want you to listen to this because he makes some very, very good points here.
Did anyone see that press conference by the so-called FBI? Something's wrong. I know I shouldn't do this. I'm risking an awful lot to go up against this FBI, the MAGA FBI. Something's very wrong with what I just heard. I mean, I watched it. I was hoping that they had caught the bastard who shot Charlie. So we saw a video of a person jumping off the roof. It looked very legitimate to me. However, there was no rifle in his hand. Now, The Mauser does not break down very easily, incidentally, for those of you who know weapons. Something's wrong with the whole thing. They're trying to claim he removed the barrel from the Mauser and fit the receiver and stock in his backpack and barrel in his pants leg all in 2 seconds. It is not easy to remove a Mauser barrel or index it after reinstalling and remain accurate. We are not hearing or seeing reality. And by the way, the photo of the rifle allegedly left in the woods has the barrel installed. So we're supposed to believe a guy is on the run after killing Charlie Kirk, and he pauses in the woods to reinstall a barrel, and then he leaves it for us to find, the FBI to find. I don't believe a word of it. I shouldn't do this. I know I'm putting myself at risk, but I can't take it anymore. I can't take the bullshit from this fucking government. It's lying to us. Something's wrong. Something's so wrong. It's sickening. Look at this idiot. They found the rifle and they're getting the prints. Are you stupid? Are you that stupid? Are you that dumb? The man jumps off the roof. There's no rifle there. Oh, it's in his backpack. I just told you, moron, that this rifle doesn't break down that easily. And then it's supposed to be reassembled while he's on the run. Wait, I'll stop now and reassemble it and leave it in the woods in a box, wrapped in a towel. He left breadcrumbs. Oh, and the trans stuff on the cartridges. Bullshit. Something is wrong with this whole fucking picture.
I have to agree. I've got guns. I can tell you that they're not easy unless you had. There are certain guns that are made to be very simple. They're made to be broken down very easily, but not a bolt action rifle like that, especially in 30-06. So there's again, it just feels sloppy to me. It feels sloppy that they say that this guy was up on the roof. There's videos of him climbing off the roof. He jumps off the roof. He starts running, and they're saying that he somehow took the shot. He pulled the barrel off of the rifle. He stuffed the barrel down his pants and put the stock in his backpack, jumped off the roof, ran into the woods, reassembled the rifle, wrapped it in a towel, and left it in the woods. I don't buy it. It just seems really sloppy. I mean, it's almost like it's like FBI or whoever's behind this. I expect better of you. If you're going to try to psyop people, at least don't leave such obvious holes in the story. I mean, it's I don't know. I agree with what Mr. Savage is saying there. Now, the other thing that's really, really, really suspicious with this is this guy named George Zinn. Okay. And so again, for people that have bought the idea or that are pushing the idea that this guy, the young guy, was a lone gunman, yet as soon as the shooting happened, this guy, George Zinn, this old guy, it says right here, it says the elderly man was detained after apparently falsely admitting to shooting Charlie Kirk. So he's a known political agitator, which we'll get into that. So basically what happened is that as soon as the shot happened, shortly after, there's chaos. George Zinn, this guy that they hauled away, started shouting that I think he said, "Shoot me, I did it. He was basically created a huge diversion by screaming that he did it. And of course, I'm sure we saw on social media and they say, oh, that, they found the guy. I can remember this picture right here. I saw this all over the place, or other pictures of him being detained. And so that's strange to me, right? That the shooter or the supposed guy, when it happens, would do that. Like, why would he do that? Why? The only reason I can think why he would do that is because he was creating a distraction for the actual shooter to get away. And to me, like, even this right here, this completely throws out the window the idea that the shooter was a lone gunman. Because again, why would this guy just start screaming that he did it and bring all the attention onto him? Like, the only possible reason that I can think of is that they were coordinating together And this George Zinn guy, his role in this was to create a distraction so the other guy could get away. Now, what's crazier about this is, okay, so who is this George Zinn guy? So here's a video. Actually, Ryan Matta, good guy, good friend of mine, put together, okay? It's a minute 50, and he's asking, who is this George Zinn guy? Okay, this is even stranger. It'd be one thing if they said, okay, George Zinn, he was a local Utah guy. He was homeless. He was known for being crazy, whatever. But watch this. What is the chance of all this happening? So check out this video from Ryan Matta.
Now, all you conspiracy theorists out there, I don't want you going crazy, but what are the odds that George Zinn, the patsy that was arrested at the Charlie Kirk assassination, also saw 9/11, he saw the planes fly into the buildings and called that in or reported it, and then he also called in a fake terrorist attack at the Boston Marathon bombing, and just so happened to get arrested at Charlie Kirk's event. So Tess Keyser, she responded to this tweet and she says, Grok is a guy really involved in all three events like this post claims. And Grok fact checks it and goes, based on a review of multiple sources, George Zinn was a witness to the 9/11 attacks and he described seeing planes hit the towers. He was also arrested in 2013 for emailing a bomb threat joke to the Salt Lake City Marathon shortly after the Boston bombing. He pled guilty to a terrorism charge and somehow magically only received probation. He was also detained and questioned as a person of interest at the Charlie Kirk assassination on September 10th, 2025, but released without charges relating to the shooting. Then Grok went on and made sure that it told you there is no credible evidence that supports claims of his involvement in 9/11's false flag, facilitating Kirk's deaths, or Mossad ties. The main suspect in Kirk's killing is now Tyler Robinson, and he is in custody. So I asked Grok to break this one down for us, and it says so, and it wouldn't give me an answer first. It said it's impossible to calculate. Well, I said use statistical probability and give me a ballpark stat on the probability of him being at all three major events. And it goes through here and it breaks it down. Then we get down here to the very bottom where it combines the probability right here. Combined probability. And it says it is equal to 0.705% or 5 times 10 to the power of 8. That translates to approximately 1 in 2 billion. Does all of that seem normal to you?
So again, there you go. Like it's just strange. What are the odds that this guy, as soon as, I'm not going to play the video for you, but as soon as 9/11 happened, this guy gets interviewed and he said instantly it was Al Qaeda who did it. He also had sent a bomb threat. There's a bomb threat to someone else that he had done. Now he's just so happens to be the guy that's there. It just so happens his heritage, he's an Ashkenazi Jew, which is also interesting, right? Because if you're kind of looking at the whole thing and how it fits together, it's another piece of information that makes you scratch your head a little bit, perhaps. But it just doesn't make sense, okay? Now, I want to continue because if we've come to the conclusion that the story that we're being fed of this guy being a lone gunman, etc., is a completely BS story, which that's my own conclusion. There were other there were other information coming out saying that sources had said there was foreign intelligence involved, which that right there throws off the whole story too. It's like, oh, wait, is there foreign intelligence or was it just some radicalized lone gunman that carved names, carved stuff into his bullets, the same way that the trans shooter at the Annunciation Catholic School had written the same slogans all over his gun. I mean, to me, it's like, they keep using the same PSYOP playbook to control this stuff. But there's been a lot of discussion, though, about Israel. Okay, what is Israel's involvement with this? Okay, so Charlie Kirk, who has really, since his inception with TPUSA, been extremely pro-Israel, has been questioning Israel over the course of the last couple of months. Now, there's people in the chat that are probably going to say, these are God's people, don't even question it. It's like, I'm sorry, I question everything, right? That's my job, is I ask questions. I'm not going to tell you what to think, but I'm going to tell you what I think and what my research is showing me. So there's an article that I want to point to here on the gray zone. I'm going to read just a little bit of it. It says that Charlie Kirk refused Netanyahu's funding offer, was frightened by pro-Israel forces before death, friend reveals. Now, there is also a tweet put up by Harrison Smith over at InfoWars that he put the tweet out, I think, in mid-August. and this is before this happened, saying that someone close to Charlie was talking to Harrison, and told him that Charlie was basically fearing for his life for what he had, kind of speaking out against some of the things about Israel. And that tweet was documented, right? I don't have it to pull up for you, but then you look at this article by Max Blumenthal. Okay, Charlie Kirk refused Netanyahu funding offer, was frightened by pro-Israel forces before death, friend reveals. I'll read a little bit of this. A Trump insider and longtime friend of Charlie Kirk tells the Gray Zone how the assassinated conservative leader's turning point on Israel influence provoked a private backlash from Netanyahu's allies that left him angry and afraid. The source said anxiety spread within the Trump administration after an apparent Israeli spying operation was uncovered. Charlie Kirk rejected an offer earlier this year from Netanyahu to arrange a massive new infusion of money into his Turning Point USA TPUSA organization, America's largest conservative youth association, according to a longtime friend of the slain commentator speaking on the condition of anonymity. The source told the Gray Zone that the late pro-Trump influencer believed Netanyahu was trying to cow him into silence as he began to publicly question Israel's overwhelming influence in Washington and demanded more space to criticize it, which this is true. If you look at some of the more recent interviews with Charlie Kirk, he was starting to question things. There's an interview that he did on Patrick Bet-David, where this is after the October 7th massacre, where Charlie, and I was surprised to see him say this on the interview, where he says, look, I think there's a stand down order given. That, because he said, he was talking about how he's been to, Gaza, or he's been to the border, he's been to Israel. And he was saying that it was basically, from his perspective, it was almost impossible that attack could have been carried out, especially for the duration that it was, unless there was some sort of stand down order issued. And that was also what my research showed me as well. Okay. So it says, in the weeks leading up to the September 10th assassination, Kirk had come to loathe the Israeli leader, regarding him as a bully, the source said. Kirk was disgusted by what he witnessed inside the Trump administration, where Netanyahu sought to personally dictate the president's personal decisions and weaponize Israeli assets like billionaire donor Miriam Adelson to keep the White House firmly under its thumb. According to Kirk's thumb, who also enjoyed access to President Donald Trump and his inner circle, Kirk strongly warned Trump last June against bombing Iran on Israel's behalf. He said Charlie was the only person who did that, and they said, recalling how Trump barked at him in response and angrily shut down the conversation. The source believes the incident confirmed in Kirk's mind that the president of the United States had fallen under the control of a malign foreign power and was leading his own country into a series of disastrous conflicts. By the following month, Kirk had become the target of a sustained private campaign of intimidation and free-floating fury by wealthy and powerful allies of Netanyahu, figures he described in an interview as Jewish leaders and stakeholders. He was afraid of them, the source emphasized. And it goes into more of the background with TPUSA and the founding, the money he got in starting it up. And so we're not going to be getting into that. But again, I just want to put this out there. Now, it's an unnamed source. That whole article could be propaganda. It could be CCP propaganda to get the American public to be focused on Israel. That's a possibility. However, it does match a lot of the clips and a lot of the discussions that Charlie Kirk has been having lately in, calling for the Epstein files to be released, in questioning some of the, his own ability to criticize Israel, in saying that he's been labeled as an anti-Semite sometimes because he says he has less ability to criticize Israel than even an Israeli person does. So you have to ask, okay, is there something behind this? I mean, look, if you dig through the JFK files, which you can dig through them and you can do your own search, as now that they're much more public now, you can see it was not a lone gunman at all. It wasn't a lone gunman. And you can see that the CIA and Mossad and Israeli intelligence certainly had a hand in the assassination of JFK. It's not some conspiracy theory that's the truth. You can go look up the files yourself. Go in there and you can see it. So, but what's also strange to me is that, again, I'm just looking at patterns here, is that the people that I'm seeing online, the major kind of conservative influencers, the ones that are very pro-Israel, which I'm not bashing them for that. However, the ones that are very pro-Israel are not questioning the motives at all. They're not questioning any of the evidence. with this situation. They're not looking at it objectively. These are the same people that looked at George Floyd and said this is a psyop, and they broke it all down. They're just taking this thing hook, line, and sinker, that this is the official story. There's a lone gunman. He was this radicalized, smart young man that went to college and became radicalized and was involved in Antifa. They're just taking that story, and basically, if you don't accept that story, they're attacking you for it. And, again, I'm not saying it was Israel. I don't know. But I want to be able to ask the question. I want to be able to look at the evidence and say, okay, well, there's some information coming out saying there's a foreign intelligence involved in this. The whole story the FBI is giving us is full of loopholes, and I don't believe it for a bit. There's some strange things happening between Charlie Kirk and Israel, okay, and his, what was once like this bulletproof wall up against making sure that he protected the interests of Israel no matter what. And it's like, okay, well, is that a potential? I don't know. But if you look, here's a tweet from Laura Loomer, and to me, this highlights the epitome of it. She says, if you're posting that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by Israel, you have a mental illness. It's called paranoid schizophrenia. Now, Ian Carroll, of course, has a clever comment, as he usually does on that. But again, if you're posting that his assassination was potentially tied to Israel, you have a mental illness. It's called paranoid schizophrenia. And I'm sorry, but as a journalist and as a researcher, it's my job to question these things. And so this is also what concerns me, is whenever I see people that when there's a particular narrative and you're not allowed to question that narrative at all, or else you're labeled as someone who's psychotic. This is classic, propaganda, social engineering. This is classic control of thought that's playing out. Look back at what happened during COVID, that especially early on, anybody who questioned COVID, questioned the pandemic, questioned the jab, they were labeled as anti-vaxxers. They were labeled as conspiracy theorists. So again, she's not attacking the argument. She's attacking the individual. She's saying, if you question this, you are a paranoid schizophrenic. You have a mental illness. These are the same tactics that have been used against the, more question asking, especially conservatives, for since JFK was killed. Anybody who questioned it was labeled as a conspiracy theorist. That's the origin of the term, the conspiracy theory term. It came from the CIA as a way to shut down any kind of discussion about whether there was more than a lone gunman. So we're seeing it. It's like it literally is JFK 2.0. But what's strange is that it's not the CIA coming out. It's actually people like Laura Loomer coming out and saying, you can't even question this. Now, there's certain people that have come out and they've said definitively, Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel. And like, okay, I'm not in that boat. To me, it's not so black and white. That's why I'm not making any strong statements. I'm just doing my research, but I'm pointing to you to a lot of evidence that, I don't know, seems a little bit off to me. I should be allowed to question that without being labeled as having a mental illness and being a paranoid schizophrenic. So what's also strange about this whole thing is that within a day of Charlie Kirk being assassinated, the Daily Wire is now basically seizing control of TPUSA. And Ben Shapiro is taking Charlie's place. So here's a video. This is a post. It says, Ben Shapiro has announced that his media company, the Daily Wire, will be taking control of Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA. And here's a 13-second video of Ben announcing this, which is kind of odd. Talking about the blood on the microphone. Just watch this.
Because we're Americans, and we're not going to be deterred. Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that blood-stained microphone where Charlie left it. Because we're Americans, and we're not going to be deterred. Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that blood-stained microphone where Charlie left it.
It just seems strange to me, but it's also, if you look at Ben Shapiro, this isn't about a personal attack, but if you look at him, you compare him to Charlie Kirk was a very, very devout Christian. It was very obvious. That was at the core of everything that he did with Turning Point USA. And so for Ben Shapiro to step into his role, obviously you could say that they align on a lot of the conservative views and, anti-communism, which I agree with anti-communist perspectives, of course. But Charlie was a very, very, very strong Christian. And that was one of the cornerstones of TPUSA. Now, Ben Shapiro, who is in a lot of essence kind of filling his role and kind of taking control of what TPUSA is going to be doing, I want to play this little video of him on Joe Rogan talking about who Jesus was. Because this is important for us to look at, again, to look, okay, who's taking control? Who's going to replace Charlie Kirk with his role in TPUSA, which is a very, very Christian-oriented company. So this is a 28-second clip on Ben Shapiro on Joe Rogan.
Point of view, where we don't believe in the divinity of Christ. I think that there you can make an argument that the Gospels, which were written,
he was just a prophet, and
No. We don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble, just like a lot of other Jews at that time who were crucified for trying to lead revolts against the Roman and got killed for their trouble.
So he became legend in story, and it became a bigger and bigger deal as time went on.
Yeah, he had a group of followers, and then that gradually grew. Jewish point of view, where we don't believe in the divinity of Christ. I think.
So again, I respect that Ben can have his own religious perspective, of course. However, if the guy that is kind of taking the place of Charlie Kirk, very suddenly, like almost too quickly, right? It's almost like when a guy, dies, and like the next day the brother is going to the widowed wife and saying, hey, now that he's dead, I can take you on a date. It just feels strange. But also the guy that is filling the shoes of someone who was, I would say, one of the strongest Christian voices in America, especially for the youth, just thinks that Jesus was a Jew that rebelled against the Romans and was crucified for it. That's it. Wasn't a prophet. Wasn't the Son of God. I don't know. It just seems strange. Okay, it just seems strange. And so we're going to jump into the comments soon, but I wanted to give one last comment on just my own perspective. There's a lot of people I'm seeing that think that Charlie is still alive. They think that the assassination was fake, that he was wearing some sort of kind of blood releasing device, which, they have these. It's not difficult if you're in Hollywood or these special effects things. There's, the weird AI videos of the ring changing fingers. Well, I can tell you, so I used to work in the jewelry industry. They make rings that they're especially made for people that have arthritis, and they're rings that open up, right? Because if you've got arthritis, I used to sell these rings to old ladies, right? Because they've got swollen knuckles from arthritis. They're these rings that they open up, and you can clasp on your finger, and that's how you take it off. It doesn't slide over the knuckle. The ring that Charlie had, which is all kinds of other videos of him with that ring, is one of those rings, right? It opens up. And so people saying, how'd the ring switch fingers? Well, if it was open on his finger and his body goes from a sudden kind of jolt, the ring can come off and it can spin around. It can look like it's on a different finger. There's also people analyzing the black dot on his shirt, right? Well, the black dot was just a microphone. You can see he wears it in other places. But again, there are people that think that the whole thing was faked, that it wasn't real, that the white hats are in control. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I've looked into a lot of that. I spent a lot. I've got books on it. I've read extensively on it. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. Like I believe that this man was executed in broad daylight, intended to be a mass trauma event, just like JFK, except one that's in a lot of ways targeting Gen Z. They've never experienced something like this. And I think that he was killed. I think that he was murdered in broad daylight for the whole world to see. I think that you could say it was a ritual sacrifice. Even Kash Patel coming out and saying that there was exactly 33 hours. He goes, no, 36 hours. No, 33 hours. 33 is it's Masonic number. It's a very significant number, right? You can't just overlook these things. I think that it was some sort of ritual sacrifice that was timed with a lot of things. It was the day before 9/11. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that Charlie got reassigned somewhere and he's living in some breakaway community and he's still alive. That's just my own perspective, but I told you I would address that. So I want to dive into the comments now, and I can see that there are a lot of comments coming in. So I've got here on my screen, we've got Rumble comments here, and we've got YouTube comments here. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of jump in. I know a lot of you have left comments so far. I apologize if I've missed your comments, but I'm not going to be able to go back and sort through all the comments. I will be banning people, kicking people out. Okay, so E. Marquis, who says, "Oh boy, I accidentally fell into a faggot fest." Sorry, you're gone. You're gone. So if anyone is here that is just here to cause trouble and kind of create havoc, you're going to get kicked out. Okay, that's just the reality of it. So scrolling down here to the more recent comments. Okay. Yeah, the violence of action. Charlie's dead. I agree. I absolutely agree. Bernie Moore. So the FBI is wanting a civil war. They are still a full part of the deep state. But yeah, I mean, even though we've got Kash Patel at the head and Dan Bongino, I'm not going to say that the FBI is a good organization all of a sudden now. It was also very strange. It's also very strange that Kash Patel in the recent press conference today came out and said that he would see Charlie in Valhalla. Right, there you go. Yeah, Marty Huff. Why did Kash say, "See you in Valhalla"? That's, again, it's strange, right? It's like the Viking version of heaven, where their belief is that they get to just fight nonstop, and they get to fight, and then they get to then go back and get really drunk and have sex with women, and then wake up the next day and fight. And it's just strange. Live Free or Perish, a day before 9/11 and a blood moon. Again, you have to look at this. If you understand who we're up against, the dates, the timing, the astrological stuff, blood moon, etc. Exactly it. Jay Dixon, who says, my aunt and I told my 80-something-year-old grandma about Charlie today. Grandma says this feels like a JFK assassination. RC28445 says, I think you are wrong, Seth. They put him in the car, and on the way there was no blood. If they shot him in the neck with a rifle, wouldn't his neck be completely destroyed? I'm not sure what you saw, but I saw him covered in blood. The pictures that I saw, I saw him covered in blood, so I don't know about that. Also Turbo 8086, Erica gave a no BS speech tonight. I agree. Because that speech was just before the show, so I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, but I saw different clips about it. And to me, it didn't seem like she was acting. It didn't seem like she was up there talking in that way. And her husband's actually alive somewhere. Yeah, thank you. Knacknude76. He says, RC, did you not see the blood pouring out of his neck? Yeah, I did. So yeah, I mean, it's actually, there you go. Builder Babe, thank you. Charlie Kirk would not pull a "Who is John Galt?" It's actually funny because in the past, say 6 months or so, I've read Atlas Shrugged. My wife is currently reading Atlas Shrugged, Kate, and she's constantly coming back to me. We're talking about it. So, who is John Galt? Yeah, and it's funny because that's when I said he's not living some breakaway society. I was actually referencing Atlas Shrugged, where they have this breakaway society everyone goes to. Yeah, there you go. Brad Sauer. It took 33 hours to track him down. Like, that was really, really strange. Like, why 33 hours? Why the number? Why the number? So here you go. Red Pill 1964. Seth, isn't it possible that they had credible evidence that he was going to be taken out, so the white hat took him out to save his life? Okay, let's just pretend. Okay, I will give you, I'm not saying someone is stupid for thinking this, or someone is ignorant for believing that he's not dead, right? We live in crazy times. Trust me. Like, I've gone down some really crazy rabbit holes, but I want to address that. Actually, it's a good point. So Red Pill 1964 says, Seth, isn't it possible that they had credible evidence that he was going to be taken out, so the white hats took him out to save his life? Well, here's a question though. Why would they take him out in the manner they did? That's the thing. He could have died in a car accident. He could have had food poisoning. He could have had a heart attack. There's a million other ways that they could have, quote unquote, taken him out in a way that they could have gone and took him into hiding. Why do this, right? Why take Gen Z especially the youth that has been just completely demonized, the young conservatives that grew up at their formative years in COVID, that Charlie was such a hero for them. Why would they take it and basically execute him live on stage in this incredibly gory way that was so disturbing for me to see? So disturbing. When I saw the close-up video, when I first saw the video from far away, and I saw him, that was the first video that was going viral. You see him, he kind of cocks his head over and he falls over, and Charlie's shot. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I hope he's alive. I hope that he survives this. I saw the close-up video. I didn't know what was going on. I saw the bullet go through his neck, and he kind of cocks back and just, so you have your veins in your neck are major veins, right? So when your heart's pumping, it's shooting blood out if that vein is open up. And when I saw that, my soul was like hurt. It was so disturbing to me. So here, Joey Bronzoni is saying, because trauma wakes people up. It's like, well, what is this? How you want to wake people up? By executing their hero in the public like that? And I agree, it creates a martyr, but I don't know. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I don't buy that. Now I actually hear say, Batasha in the country, how can such a young man have such a great shot like a sniper? And I have seen this as well. I have seen that there's been a few questions. There's a question that someone put on Telegram before the show where they were asking, this guy must have been a trained sniper or whatever. I've got guns, I've got long rifles and whatnot. And I can tell you that a 200-yard shot, especially if you're a deer hunter, if you've been hunting deer, a 200-yard shot is not a difficult shot to take. So it's not like he made a 600-yard shot, like on a windy day. I mean, a 200-yard shot, especially if you're sitting there prone and you can dial in, and if your target is literally sitting in the same chair for an hour, it's actually, I find that the whole idea of the Butler shooter was much more unrealistic, right? The Butler shooter and the distance and that guy's background was shooting. But again, a 200-yard shot is not necessarily, if you ask anybody that hunts, I'm not a hunter myself, but if you ask any hunter, they'll tell you 200 yards is not that difficult to hit if you've got a decent rifle and a decent bolt action 30-06 or 203 or whatever it is. Anyway, I wanted to address that. I see a lot of people saying that, yeah, Christ lived till 33. It's such a Masonic number. What do you make of that? Yeah, I think that from what I've seen, if you look at the Masonic stuff, which I believe is very rooted in a lot of the satanic and the Luciferian things, what they do is they take what's holy, they take what's good, and they invert it. They steal it. Like, look what they've done to the rainbow, and taking the rainbow, which was God's promise, and turning the rainbow into the representative of what you could say is the reason that Sodom and Gomorrah was burned to the ground, right? So taking the number 33, maybe that's it, because it was the age of Christ. They're going to take that number and they're going to turn it into something evil. It's exactly what they do. They take those things and they invert them. They take what's holy and turn it into what's evil. R. John J. says, Seth, Gen Z is so important for the future of maintaining the future support in the Middle East. Charlie was more important than almost anyone to them. And that's exactly it, right? When you look at Charlie's role and how important he was to Gen Z, but also from the perspective that that TPUSA had funding from Israel from the very get-go. I mean, you could say that in a lot of ways, you could say that it was an Israel operation, right? It was is strongly an Israeli-backed operation. And so Charlie was, of course, he was very, very pro-Israel. And his base, right? The people that he was reaching, the young Gen Z conservatives, you could argue it's one of the most important bases to shape the future of America, the young conservatives, right? One of the most important bases. And so you could see that if Charlie, who was the vanguard for making sure that those young people were very pro-Israel, if he starts questioning it, which he was, it represents a very, very significant threat. Very significant. Okay, as Liana Louise says, if you would have listened to Charlie Kirk speaking about the NGOs, especially Israel lobbyists and millionaires and billionaires and their influence, you would know it's Mossad. And yeah, he talks about that. Okay. Also, Basta's in the country says, Seth, what about his bodyguard doing hand gestures as in like in baseball? And the other man in a white baseball hat, he tipped his hat and touched his ear. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Now, it could have been something completely random. I mean, it could have been that the guy, he could have been signaling to other bodyguards, right? Because if, I've been around a lot of high security events. I've been on stage with General Flynn, with Eric Trump, with Charlie Kirk. I've shared a stage with Charlie Kirk before. And I can tell you, if you look at the behavior of the bodyguards, they're always watching, but they have ways of communicating with each other, right? Now, hand signals or whatever it is, there's ways that they're communicating. So it could have been just the timing of a communication. It could have also been that guy was an asset. Very, very common. If you look at what happened in Butler, you can see that it seemed like the Secret Service and a lot of the people that were supposed to be protecting President Trump were actually in on it, and that they allowed it to happen. So yeah, I mean, I think absolutely there's a chance that the guy in the white hat could have actually he could have been in on it. He could have been signaling or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I agree. Trannies in Hell, interesting name. It's a terror fear campaign. Absolutely. I agree 1,000%. And that's why I covered in my show last night, which I really recommend you watch if you haven't seen it yet, is that this is what you call a mass trauma event. It was designed to create this mass trauma that it changes us on a soul level. And that's how I feel, actually. I really feel like that something changed inside of me after seeing this, after experiencing this, after seeing him die, and especially because he reminds me of me. And I'm not trying to compare myself to him in any way to kind of boost myself. That's not at all. But I've got two kids, this almost the same age as his. He had a 16-month-old son. I've got a 19-month-old daughter, and he had a 3-year-old. I've got a 4-year-old, right? We're both in our 30s. We're both professional podcasters. Obviously his career extends far beyond being just a podcaster, but it really hit me. It really hit me hard. Because it was just yeah. Also, sorry, his name's Joey. Sorry. Basta's in the country. My name is Joey. Well, thank you, Joey. I'm glad I know your name. Sometimes these names on the names that people choose are very difficult to read. I do my best. Guilty Woman. That's an easy name to read. So Guilty Woman who says, but how come no one was checking the roofs? Aren't they supposed to check the roofs or watch them, especially when it's a big event like this? That's true. That's true. Now, granted, I mean, look, he does these things all the time. Yes, he's a prominent figure, but it's not like if it was J.D. Vance or if it was Donald Trump or, say a very, very prominent politician, that maybe you would have had Secret Service, the security would have been much more heightened. But, it doesn't, to me, it's not really that abnormal to think that they're not running the same level of security as they would for Trump. But given the political climate and everything, yeah, it does make sense that maybe they should have been much more vigilant with this. Also a good point. Viv B says, why no ambulance on site? That's a really, really good point. What's also strange is that if you look at the cameras, the camera shots of the supposed shooter, of him climbing off the building, it's some really crappy faraway shot. College campuses these days have thousands of cameras everywhere. So we're only given this really poor quality. We're giving this really poor quality video footage of the guy climbing off the roof. Again, seems very, very strange. Very, very strange to me. Yeah. So Jay Dixon, who says between 9/11/01, Biden's jab mandate speech on 9/9/21, now Charlie 9/10/25, this week of September seems to be horrible luck. And to be honest, that's probably planned. Like, I don't know the satanic calendar or the ritual timing of things, because if they have these things, but maybe this particular week of September is a significant week for them. And also I want to, oh, sorry. So our John Jay says, Seth, was your audio last night a coincidence going bad? That was on my end. We have a different way of recording, and that was my fault. It was the technology's fault, which ultimately is my fault. But the audio, some people thought the audio was being messed with as a way of kind of censoring me. But no, yeah, I apologize for that. The audio was not good. I put the video out on YouTube this morning or at noon today, so I fixed the audio. So if you wanted to share that video from last night, the version on my YouTube channel is perfect audio, no glitching. It was just, again, it just had to do with our technology. So I apologize for that. I hate when that happens. Oh, so great. So 11 Lena 11 says, I just listened to a guy on the Redacted that said that Charlie did not get hit in the neck, but he got hit in the chest. He said when the bullet went, it probably hit his rib cage and his spine. Yeah. So I saw a few different things. If you look at the video, the close-up video of when he gets shot, you can see it's like his shirt shifts up like this. And so there's people that were saying if he had a bulletproof vest on, that maybe a bullet came and hit and ricocheted up, which is a possibility. So yeah, I don't know for sure. I guess, well, the thing is that they're not going to reveal what really happened to us. They're not going to come back and say, oh, the autopsy report reveals this. It's like JFK. It's like, what happened to his autopsy report? It's like full of holes. Yeah, live for your parish. We are always given poor visible looks of shooters. Of course. Yeah, and someone else mentioned, why weren't there drones? It's a good point. I mean, it's the thing is that, who was it that said that? I will give you some credit. Anyway, it's too many messages here. But that's the one thing too, is that you don't actually have to have 10 snipers on all the roofs. If you have one guy with a drone that's high enough that's just monitoring all the rooftops, it's a really easy solution for this. So yeah, I agree. I agree. Why wasn't there a drone? Maybe just they overlooked it. Yeah. Also, there's a Hobbit 0916. Yeah. What about the plane that left the area and its radar went down? Also very suspicious. Again, that plane, I think, had ties to Israel. The owner of the plane was a big donor. So again, more suspicious stuff, which I think that we should be allowed to question it without being called lunatics, without being called schizophrenics, right? Yeah. So here, Naknud is saying it ricocheted off his bulletproof vest. Yeah. So Red Pill 64. Actually, interesting. This is very interesting to think about. Red Pill, I appreciate this, actually, honestly. Red Pill says, you changed my mind, Seth. I came on here thinking Charlie was still alive and the whole thing was a psyop. What changed my mind? The fact that Ben Shapiro is replacing him. That changed his mind. I appreciate that you saying that, actually. And honestly, like, I appreciate the fact that you're willing to change your mind, because like that's so important for us, that we have to be able to be open-minded. Like I've been sometimes so convinced I know exactly what's going on with something, and then I find some new information and I change my mind. I do it all the time, and not because I'm flaky, but because I genuinely try to be very open-minded, very open-minded. Naknud also says, if it was a direct hit, a 30-06 would have exploded his neck wide open. That's true. That's a good point, right? A 30-06, it would have been pretty, it would have been much worse if it was a direct hit. So maybe it's even more indication that it was a ricochet off of a vest. But also Bars 91 says he wasn't wearing a vest. You could see his nipples coming through his shirt at one point in the footage. That's also something I've thought too, because I've thought when I looked at how his T-shirt was laying on his chest, unless he has like some sort of elven Lord of the Rings armor that he's wearing, some sort of chainmail, it's right. He didn't look like he was wearing a vest, but it's a good point. Red Pill says the fact that Ben Shapiro is replacing him tells me everything I need to know. And again, that's the thing as well, right? If people are saying that the white hats are in control, etc., then Ben Shapiro is stepping in and replacing him. It's a very good point. Very, very good point. There's another comment I wanted to respond to, and I appreciate all the activity here. Honestly, it's nice to actually do a proper live show like this and have this back and forth. Liana Louise says, you hear a lot of podcasters talking about how this affected them, and they didn't realize just how much this actually did affect them. So yeah, whatever they did, it worked. Yeah, honestly, like, I feel like, I lost my brother. He was 33, I was 30. So almost a decade ago. Very, very traumatic. Cancer and medical malpractice. I mean, it was bad. And that was really bad. That was the most significant kind of loss for me. But I have to say that Charlie passing in the way that he did, it hit me really hard. I was surprised. I was very surprised, actually, how much it really, really affected me. And I don't usually get affected by this kind of stuff. I'm usually pretty stoic, right? It's like, okay, look, there's life and death and people die, and it's just part of how things are, and it's sad. But this one was different. It felt like a good friend of mine was killed. And I barely knew Charlie. I met him backstage before. I interviewed him, but it was like a 20-minute interview. It wasn't one of those long, deep dive interviews where I get to know somebody really. But yeah, I want to say Mullins to Cooper. I want to address something you said too. He said, Mullins to Cooper says, Israel, Israel, Israel. You sound like all the rest. Well, is that a problem? It's not all the rest. I mean, there's a lot of people. Like I would say that all the rest are just saying that we found the lone shooter, that he was some trans Antifa radical person. I don't think it sounds like all the rest to be questioning Israel, because, I mean, there's a lot of evidence that shows that there's some suspicious stuff going on with Israel. I mean, you look back at JFK, that I would say, which was the most significant public execution in the history of our country, especially in terms of like the trauma of people that are watching me, that are watching that happen. Israel was involved with JFK. Go read through the JFK files. I did a whole long deep dive show on it. I'm not saying that it was only them, it was our own intelligence agencies, et cetera. So, I think that it's for us to question, was this also involved with the country that we know has done this before? Not to mention, what I've talked about so far. Yeah, maybe there's not overwhelming. That's why I'm not coming out here and saying there's overwhelming evidence that Israel did this. Like, I don't know who did it. Maybe it was the CCP. I don't know. Charlie's very anti-communist. He's very anti-China, CCP. So maybe it was the CCP. Show me some information. I'll be willing to look into that idea. But I don't think that it's ignorant to be questioning these kinds of things. So I guess I'll ask you, Muslims to Cooper, who do you think did it? Right? It's like, who do you just believe that it was a lone gunner, and that is that it? Like, actually let me know. Like, honestly, please let me know. Like, who do you think that, do you believe the entire story that the FBI has put out, that this guy had a gun, he took it apart, he put it in his pants, and then he jumped off the thing, he ran into the woods, he put the gun back together? If that's what you believe, okay, Like, good for you. So yeah. Yeah, good for you. So, continuing. Getting back to some of the comments here. Wizard 2003, he says, usually the simplest answer is the correct one. Could it just be the case that he was shot in the neck by a radicalized, high IQ 22-year-old? It absolutely could be the case. Like, I'm not saying that it wasn't the case. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of strange stuff around that particular story, especially with the gun. Like, it's weird. Like, you watch the videos, the guy's not jumping off. When he's running, he's not carrying a gun. Yet, all of a sudden, the FBI found a gun. I mean, I went over this. So, it could be the case. But, I don't know. To me, like, the story is full of holes. Like, the whole lone gunman idea. Yeah, like, there's a bunch of whack jobs. And as I mentioned, it wasn't a, I don't think that it was, I don't think that it was, that hard of a shot, as I mentioned. So, it is potentially, but again, there's some weird stuff going on. Okay. Muslins the Cooper says, I'd like to wait for more info to come to a definitive conclusion. But honestly, if it's deep state, then why does it have to be Israel? Well, the thing is, I'm not saying that it has to be Israel. Sparky X saying Israel is a deep state. Yeah, I mean, if you dig into the deep state, if you look at, okay, who is the deep state? I'd say the deep state is the media companies. The deep state is the technology companies. It's the big social media platforms. A lot of these things that we consider deep state have very strong ties to Israel, right? So I'm saying it's possible. Okay, it's possible. So anyway, I'm not gonna continue along the lines with Mullins to Cooper, right? I've kind of given my perspective, and that's where we stand. So I appreciate you being here on the chat and sharing your opinion, and it's good. Actually, it's really good for us to be able to share the opinions. Okay. Now, someone says too early to speculate. Only God truly knows. I agree. And the thing is that I don't think it's too early to speculate, right? It's too early. I think it's too early to draw definitive conclusions. Okay. Like, that's the thing. But I don't think it's too early to speculate. I think we have to speculate. Sorry, my voice is a little bit crackly. So I'm going to get a little drink. Yeah. Red Pill 64. Great discussion, everyone. I agree. Like, this is a hopping live chat, and this is absolutely fantastic. And I think this is actually, it's a really, really good conversation. So here, we need Daniel SSR. He says, Tim Pool said he was radicalized by the liberal college. His inexperienced marksmanship caused him to miss the head, not taking the drift of the bullet into consideration. Perhaps. I mean, I'm not going to second guess the fact that that the guy was radicalized by college. I mean, it's happening to, a large portion of our youth. Maybe an experience he missed a little bit. That's true. But again, what's up with the gun stuff? There's a lot of things. Again, there's a lot of things that just don't really make sense. And also, again, if it was, thank you, Mullins to Cooper, agree to disagree, thumbs up, thank you, right? Like, I appreciate people coming in here with different perspectives. I want, like, if you think I'm wrong, tell me. Like, honestly, like, I want to hear you coming in and sharing your views. I'm not someone that's like, this is the law, and I'm going to kick you out if you don't agree with me. Now, if you come in and you're, pardon my language, if you're a dickhead and you're being mean to everybody, then yeah, I'm going to kick you out of the chat, because this should be a cordial discussion. Okay, which I think it is actually. Like, I'm very impressed with the people here. Yeah, Bendy rocks. Thank you. Troll free night. Yeah, thank you, Ben. It is. And also, so Mullins to Cooper saying, I'm also not an Israel lover at all, just asking questions. I appreciate that. And that's the thing, is I think that there are a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have jumped to the conclusion. They're saying Israel did it, Israel did it, Israel did it. I don't think that's responsible either. I don't think it's responsible at all. It's too early to know exactly. It really is. And I think it actually, it gives people a bad impression when people come out and they make these sweeping statements. Mullins Cooper says, thanks for allowing me to ask the hard questions. Absolutely, man. I'm assuming you're a man. Maybe you're a woman. If you're a woman, let me know. I don't want to misgender you. But sometimes we have these gender neutral avatar names like Mullins to Cooper. It's hard for me to tell. So I take my guess. So again, yeah, I'm glad that, Mr. David Duke saying Charlie Kirk followers are going to assassinate Ben Shapiro to take revenge. That's not the right thing to do. To me, again, watched my show last night. I went into the whole Civil War perspective. And I'll say something that actually really quickly about Civil War. So there's a lot of people that I'm seeing, again, my show last night, I covered this extensively. There's a lot of people coming out and saying Civil War. Andrew Tate put a tweet, had 12 million impressions last time I saw it. A lot of conservatives are coming in and they're saying, we need to have Civil War. The one thing I'll say is that there's this naive perspective I think a lot of conservatives have in America, that if there's a civil war, because the right has all the guns and all the shooting experience, that they're going to defeat the left and they're going to destroy the woke ideology in the country, and they're going to reclaim America and take it back to its founding of a conservative, kind of biblical country through civil war. What I can tell you is that if you look at history, if there's a civil war, it almost always ends up in tyranny, or it ends up in you being conquered by another country. It doesn't end up with the good guys seizing control through civil war and the country having 100 years of freedom and prosperity. No, if there's a civil war in America, you can bet your britches that you're going to have Chinese troops on the ground. You're going to have UN troops on the ground. You're going to have any foreign nation that wants to collapse America, or any part of the deep state that wants to destroy America. Civil war is exactly what they want. And if civil war breaks out, you're going to see martial law. You're going to see probably military coups of corrupt elements of the military taking over. You're going to see the FEMA camps. You're going to see foreign soldiers coming in on America. It is a bad, bad thing. So, again, I don't think that anybody should be calling for civil war. Now, I'm not saying that we should just sit around and do nothing. And that's not what I'm saying. But David Duke, I'm gonna pull you out of this chat. I don't like your language. Charlie Kirk followers are going to assassinate Ben Shapiro to take revenge. I don't like that. Sorry, I'm going to kick you out from this live stream. We can't have that kind of talk in here. Even if I'm not sure what your point in saying that was, but that kind of stuff is not good. I can tell you, if someone did that, if some, kind of right-wing person, anti-Israel, takes out Ben Shapiro, that is one of the worst things that you could possibly imagine to happen. It will our country will just spiral into complete chaos. And actually, I think that is feeding into the exact thing that the deep state, the cabal would want. That's exactly what they want. They want violence. That's also, I think, why they're doing this, is they want people doing this violence. They want complete chaos. Pistol Pete 2110 says Civil War isn't always done with guns. We are in a civil war right now, and it's being fought through the ballot boxes. I would say so. Yeah, I would say that I appreciate the perspective. I think that we are in a war for this country. I think there was a military, not military, I think there was a coup in 2020 with the election. However, an actual civil war, if you look at it from the historical perspective, where you have multiple factions within a country fighting each other, that's what I'm referring to when I say civil war. I want to actually highlight Blue Wolf 2000, who says, Seth, quick aside, want to sincerely thank you. Truly appreciate you and all your work. But your show yesterday was superb. I think one of your works, truly well done and at a perfect time. Thank you, Blue Wolf. I appreciate those. I appreciate those comments. I really do. And also just a reminder, everyone who's watching here, right now, make sure you hit the like button on here. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I cover a lot. I cover these kinds of things. I cover a lot of the health freedom movements, a lot of the kind of global economic stuff. Preparedness, prepping is a big thing for me. So just a quick thing is that if you're here watching and you're enjoying, smash that like button. It actually helps us to reach even more people. And subscribe. Red Pill 64. You know, Red Pill, you're like my favorite person in the chat tonight. Yeah, I don't know why, but you're rocking it here. I really enjoy your comments. One thing I'm going to say quickly is I'm going to pull up a little website. So I've got a little side project that we're doing. It's going to become a much bigger project, but just because it's worth mentioning to all of you. So I'm a big person when it comes to preparedness, right? And that, to me, like, that's one of my solutions to this is just build your community, build your family, prepare. Learn how to prepare, learn how to become more resilient. I do believe that we're, again, if you watched the show last night, that we're entering into some very turbulent times. Like the deep state, the cabal, they're backed into a corner, and I think it's going to get wild. And so my recommendation for everyone is to figure out how to get yourself more prepared. Make sure you've got food, make sure you know how to protect yourself, build your communities, everything. I've got a book coming out called Prep Like Noah, which is going to be like a really kind of simple guide to just, helping be more prepared. But one thing that we're doing is that I'm launching an online community called the Ark. It's called the Ark Community. And basically what it is it's an online space, private, for anybody who has the same ideals as you, believe in faith, freedom, etc., to come together, share skills. It's going to have a whole section of tutorials and videos on preparedness, whether it's water purification, food preservation, solar, etc. There's going to be expert Q&As. So basically, it's going to be this amazing online community where you can come in, you can meet other people. We're going to have chapters, so you can have your local chapter meetups, so you can meet other people that share your values. And so we're opening up. We're in beta testing right now, and in a couple of weeks, we're opening up to the public. So just to kind of give it a little plug here, if you're interested in joining our community, it's called the Ark Community. And it's going to be something where you can, again, meet other people. You can learn, as he says here, build connections, build skills, build your arcs. So the Ark Community is a private network where those who cherish faith, family, and freedom can learn, connect, and prepare for uncertain times together. This is my new kind of like pet project I'm so excited about, because I love doing the podcasting and everything, but I want to turn it into real world. I want to be able to have meetings with people. I want to do face-to-face training and get to know everybody and find other experts and connect people so we can really come together. Because if you share the values that I do, I'm sure you do. If you're watching part of the show, maybe there's some crossover there. Anyway, if you want to be added to the list to be notified when it's opened up, go to buildtheark.com and just put in your name and your email. That's it. And click join the wait list. And then as soon as it's open, we're going to email you. We're going to walk you through what it looks like, what you can do there, everything. So if you want to be notified, go to buildtheark.com. It's already, we're beta testing it with some members already. It is an amazing, amazing thing that we're building here. It's about taking people and uniting people and sharing our skills, sharing our knowledge so we can all become more prepared together, because I do believe we're living in the days of Noah. And I don't think there's a massive flood coming, but the flood's already here. It's already starting. The surveillance state, the corruption, the chaos, the flood it's just starting to kind of hit your knees. It's going to get worse, unfortunately. That's my belief. I think that we're living in the days of Noah. So I believe that it's actually our responsibility to be prepared and to prepare our families, build community and everything. And so the Ark Community is the way that I'm trying to help as many people as possible achieve that. So again, go to buildtheark.com, plug in your name and your email, join the wait list. All right, let's get back into the chat. Okay. All righty, okay. Okay, so where are we? Oh, Builder Bay, I love the idea, Seth. Yeah, thank you. So make sure you go there. Again, go there. I'm so excited about it. We've already had a few meetings with our core group that we're launching it with. And it's amazing. People say, because imagine that you're wanting to hook up a solar system. You want to do some off-grid solar. Well, there's a whole solar group on there. So you can actually go message somebody who is an expert on solar that will help you and walk you through. It's about just taking like all of us. Maybe I'm not sure if you're like me. I'm concerned about where the country is going to be in the next couple of years. Like I'm very, very concerned. I think that what we saw happen with Charlie, unfortunately, is just the beginning of a lot of the chaos that's going to be happening in this country. So if you have that same feeling, if you're overwhelmed by the idea of being prepared, which it is, it's overwhelming. I've been prepping for probably a decade. It's still overwhelming. The idea is that we want to make it really, really easy for you. Really simple, allow you to meet other people, kind of build local connections, etc. So anyway, so yeah, see Spangle 85. I've seen a few questions about this. What about the books published on 9/9, The Shooting of Charlie Kirk on Amazon? And were screenshot by multiple individuals, but then taken down. Yeah, I don't know. That's a strange one. I've seen that too. There's been a couple of different books about that. I'm not sure if it's, I see people joining, signing up. Fantastic. Sue Smith. Hey, good to see you, Sue Smith. Sue Smith is one of my longtime people. I love seeing Sue in the comments. She's been a longtime follower. So big shout out to Sue Smith. So, okay. Oh, also, Pistol Pete. I just started Rumble today. I was encouraged to switch from YouTube. I'm glad I found you right away. Awesome. Pistol Pete. Thank you. Thank you. Kinder Yeti. What should we be doing about firearms? That's a broad question. I would say learn how to use them. If you want to go and you want to stockpile and you want to get some good legal guns and lots of ammo and all that stuff, I would recommend it. If you don't have a gun at all, get some training. That's the key. Find a good trainer, get some proper training, safety training, etc. Absolutely. So, I would recommend, learn how to use a gun. And again, a lot of this will be in the community. There's a whole kind of defense and security section, and it's going to be tutorials on there. We're going to have videos, even like training courses, right? Where you can actually do a training course on like Firearms 101. It's not created yet, but this is what we're going to be doing. So if you, if you want to learn, it's very important. It was very, very important. Okay, so getting back into the comments, and I'm not sure how long to keep going for. I mean, there's still almost 3,000 people watching live, so it's a fantastic crowd. It's I could keep going. I feel like that my voice is leaving me a little bit. I've been talking a lot lately, which is my job, I guess. But I've also been a little bit croaky and pardon me. Yeah. Basta in the country. Sorry, I forget your name again. I forget. You told me your name. Great. You just signed up for it. The Ark Community. Fantastic. So interesting. So Joel Evans said, forgive my skepticism, but I feel like the wife is in on it. She gave the speech far too soon. No way if she weren't, that she's making jokes, not 2 days after her husband is executed on live TV. I haven't heard that yet. But yeah, I'll watch the I'll watch the video. I'll share my thoughts with you later. So actually here, so Sonia says, Seth, I live in a very liberal lefty state. Is there a community for the Ark in Colorado? I'm alone in life. Absolutely. So I live in New York, right? So I live in a liberal lefty state. Now I live in rural New York. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. We've got 7 acres and chickens and all that kind of stuff. But pardon me, my throat's going out. But yeah, so there's already members in Colorado. There's a handful of people that are already in Colorado that have joined the community, because we've got we have a like a kind of like our beta group of people that are kind of helping build the initial community, and there's definitely some Colorado people, and so that's also part of it too. Is that in the community there's going to be basically there's going to be chapters, right? So whatever region you're in, you can join your chapter, and so that way we're going to organize like local meetups. We're going to start having like an annual kind of group meetup. So everyone who's there, everyone who's part of the Ark community will do like an annual meetup. That's maybe like a 3-day event where we can come in, kind of meet each other, etc. So yeah, even if you're in a lefty state, even more important for you if you're in a lefty state to join something like that. So, okay. Viv B, talking about his wife, who says that people deal with grief in different ways. And, I'm going to comment on that. So my brother passed, he died of cancer when I was 30, he was 33. And, there's your 33 age again, but again, that's when he died. And I grieved a little bit, but honestly, it wasn't until about 3 years later that I actually was able to grieve for him. And I couldn't process it, for a long time. And so it was about 3 or 4 years after that when I finally was grieving, when I was able to have that come out, and it hit me like a freight train. I mean, it was like uncontrollable sobbing. That's the only way to describe it. Cause it was a really, really difficult death. It was an 18-month process, and it was really bad. So yeah, I do agree though that you're right. People grieve. They grieve in different ways. They process grief differently, and a lot of times you're in shock. Like you're in shock for the first while. So, I see Ben to Rock saying, Seth, how's your chemtrail situation? Yeah, honestly, it's interesting because so I'm in upstate New York, and the chemtrails have we've had some of the best non-chemtrail weather almost straight for the past 2 months. It's really strange. We've had almost every day. It's been beautiful blue skies and no chemtrails. There's been a couple chemtrail days sprinkled throughout. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Sonia, buildtheark.com. So it's actually in the show description. If you scroll down in the show description, it says, I'll paste it in the chat. In the show description right here, it says join the waitlist for the Ark community at buildtheark.com. So yeah, buildtheark.com. That's the URL. Oh, the Salty King word, $1. Thank you. From Colorado. Can you give the website again? Yeah. buildtheark.com. buildtheark.com. Thank you. And, Bastion's in the Bastion, whatever, in the country. Tell me your name again, because I'm sorry, I forget it. Rumblin' Lobo. Honestly, first time watching you. You're an easy listen. Props to you for not being bombastic. Listen to me. Thank you. I appreciate that, because actually it's just who I am. Like I've had people meet me in person, I'll be like at Home Depot and be like, man, America, and they'll walk up, or if I'm doing I used to do the Reawaken events and travel in those, and I meet people and they say they're like Seth, you're just like how you are on camera. And it's like, yeah, it's just who I am. I'm a really chill guy. I'm not easily kind of, I'm probably too not passive, but too kind of just stoic about certain things. But yeah, I'm just a chill kind of guy. I'm a very optimistic and positive guy. I smile a lot. I got picked on in high school for smiling so much. My nickname was Smiley. And when I was a freshman playing football, the senior, like the varsity team used to see if they could smash me hard enough and see if I'd still get up smiling. And I always did. So yeah, it's just who it is. Mo Betta, Ivan Rakelin, if you know him, you in the game for real. Actually, funny enough, Ivan just texted me earlier. Actually, tried calling me earlier today, but I was busy, and he texted me. So I think maybe we're gonna do a show together with Ivan. Ivan's a great guy. Yeah, Joey. Okay, Joey Basta. Okay, great. Very good. Actually, I'll pull the website just one more time for everybody too. So this is it, buildtheark.com. That's our little website we put up there, a little logo. And we just launched this version of the website. I'm so excited about it. Yeah. So the Ark community, buildtheark.com. Make sure you go there, put your name in, put your email in. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And we'll give you more details. We'll give you some more details about it once we're ready for all that. So Hobbit, thank you. Seth, you're a blessing for sure. Thank you. Also, Slave More North. So build the Ark. No, it's Ark with a K. Yeah, sorry. So not a C. I should probably get the build the Ark with a C if it's available and just redirect it to build with a K, because some people actually have done that. They've done the exact same thing. Pistol Pete says, your hormones are very well balanced and you must sleep well. No joke. Actually, I do. I sleep like a baby most nights. I sleep very, very well. I sleep too much sometimes. And I think that my hormones are actually in pretty good place. I've been working on my testosterone lately. I've been working out a lot more, doing heavy lifting, creatine and some other good supplements, like really good healthy stuff. A lot of stuff from Mike Adams' store. So I think that my testosterone is, I think I got it tested lately, a couple months ago. I think it was at around 400, which is, not great, but it's not bad. But I think now it's probably doubled since then, because I've been doing a lot of, heavy weightlifting and deadlifts and stuff like that, which is really good for testosterone. Spangle 85, I see you're a good man and are pursuing the truth. I started watching you a few years ago during COVID when we were being called crazy for asking the obvious questions. So Spangle, thank you for that donation. And thank you for that too. It's amazing. I love when I see people that have said, hey, I've watched you since the beginning, or I've watched you, for a couple of years, that you've stuck with me. I really appreciate that. And hopefully you've seen that I'm consistent. Hopefully that's something that you've kind of walked away with when watching, is that, that you see that I'm consistent. Not in my kind of understanding of the world is constantly evolving, but it's just me, right? So the one thing I would say too quick thing about chemtrails, I see people talking about turbo. I have forest fires and red chemicals pouring down. Yeah, probably about 2 months ago or so, something like that. There were some forest fires. Supposedly there were forest fires up in Canada, and the chemtrails were terrible, but the smog was just absolutely terrible. It was absolutely terrible. So yeah, and it was, again, like, when have we ever had these forest fires that just kind of create just these just wretched conditions? Again, I think it's part of the climate agenda. They're trying to convince us, you can't go hiking in Canada now. You can't go in the forest. Hobbit says, love listening to you as others keep reminding us they were the first to break the news. It's not about being first, it's about sharing. Yeah. And that's actually, I appreciate that you see that, because like, I'm like, I don't really, people that say I don't have an ego, oftentimes have a big ego, but I actually don't. Like, I'm just really comfortable with who I am. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got a beautiful family. And I'm not really here to prove anything. It's like, so I part of it came from, so I used to be, for those of you who don't know my background, in 2008, I moved from Ohio to New York City to work for this startup media company. So long story short, when I was in college, I went to art school in Ohio. I met this Chinese guy, and he was on a full ride scholarship to OSU for mechanical engineering, PhD mechanical engineering, brilliant guy. But he had spent like 8 years in a labor camp in China, because we practiced Falun Gong, right? Which you probably heard about that. It's just this kind of, spiritual movement, Qigong movement in China that's been heavily persecuted by the CCP. Anyway, it like changed, like altered me so much. Because I grew up in kind of like conservative Simpleton, Ohio, and I met this guy that was in a labor camp in China, in modern day China. And so I became really committed to like fighting against communism in every way that I could. So I ended up moving to New York City in 2008, and the media company, which was very anti-communist, was the Epoch Times. And so I was with the Epoch Times from 2008 to 2015, and was eventually, I was at one point the creative director for the media organization. So I was doing all the newspaper redesigns, the website stuff, and I got so much criticism. Like, trust me, when you're the guy that designs the front page newspaper, you're the guy that everyone's criticizing every day. Why'd you do that? The headline's too big, or the picture's too wrong. And so I just got to this point where I was like, it doesn't really matter, right? I'll listen to your feedback, but it's not gonna hurt my feelings. It's also the art school I went to. I was just trained. Like, I had a teacher, like on like, first assignment, he comes, he tears people's artwork up and throws it in the trash can just to break them. It's like you can't be attached to how people think of you, right? If you're going to put yourself out there. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, anyway, so Joey's saying, so wow, Seth, you left Ohio and moved to New York. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's actually, so in Ohio, we were just really alone. We lived out in the country in Ohio. We had no community. And because I spent most of my adult life, and my wife as well, living in the New York City and the upstate New York region, this is where all of our friends are. This is where it's like we're part of our homeschool group with our friends. We've got like 35 kids in our homeschool group. So my children, it's like, of course, I hated coming back to a liberal state like New York, but this is it's where our community is, right? I know so many people that are so pro freedom and just have such good values. They're moral people in this area that I wanted to raise my kids around these our friends and their kids. So, yeah. Also, it's the Kate B. Hi from Australia, Seth. We're very sad about Charlie here. Sending warm wishes from Aus PS. Been following for several years. Love your work. Thank you. Thank you. My wife is an Aussie, and I haven't gone back. We haven't been to Australia. I've never been to Australia because, if we were going to travel, then COVID hit and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of part Aussie because of her. And Kinder Yeti, thank you, thank you for the donation. Hail from Wanata. Keep up the great work. Thank you. And Rhonda for Trump 2020. Yeah, I love Joshua Phillip with Epoch. Yeah, Josh is a great guy. He's a friend, solid guy. Hopefully I'll have him on for an interview soon. Actually, but he's a fantastic guy. He's so smart, brilliant guy. Yeah. So anyway, so I think that I want to start kind of wrapping up for the night. My voice needs a rest. But I want to ask, are there, because I know we were talking a lot about Charlie Kirk and all that, and are there any other questions that you have, right? We're here, we're live. Any other questions you have, whether it's about preparedness or my thoughts on other issues, I'd be glad to take them for you. So, and I'm going to go have some pickle juice. Have someone recommended. Pardon me. There we go. Okay. So anyway, as we're wrapping up, feel free to ask any other questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And then, then we'll start wrapping up. Cause we've been going for what time is it now? It's 11:34, right? So, hour and 34 minutes. And I talked a lot today too. So I'm already, I was kind of croaky this morning when I wake up. So anyway, just again, a reminder for everyone who's here, hit the like button on Rumble, make sure. And if you're on YouTube as well, actually, it's funny because I've got a YouTube chat that's up as well. And sorry for YouTube folk. I've only been paying attention to Rumble. There's been a lot of chat over on YouTube, but Rumble's the platform, right? And that's just everyone over on YouTube. Just so you know, I only publish like maybe a quarter of my content do I publish over on YouTube. So because most of my a lot of stuff I can't even publish there, so I'm talking about medical tyranny or things that I can't talk about. So if you're on YouTube, you're actually missing a lot of the content I'm putting out there. So Sparky, yes, this is a zebra pen. This is my favorite pen. This is it's a 0.5, or no, this is a 0.7. Yeah, this is my favorite pen. I've got like boxes of them. So good question. I used to work in telemarketing. Tepid tea with honey no lemon. Okay, tea and honey. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I see someone asking into holistics. So maybe you're referring to holistic medicine. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you check out my channel, probably half of what I talk about is medical stuff. So, for us, holistics is, yeah. I mean, if I'm not feeling well, I'm doing red light therapy. We've got red light. We're getting a infrared sauna soon. CDS, the feared CDS, we use that all the time in our home. Elderberry, we're super, super holistic. And I think very healthy because of it. Very healthy because of it. I do regular liver detoxes, parasite cleanses. Exactly. Bender Rocks, who says, what is the best we can do out of this event? What's next? I wish I had the perfect answer for you. I think that, pardon me. I think that we have to go back to our faith. We have to become calm and centered. We can't react rashly. And I think, and be prepared. I think get right with God, get your family in order, be prepared. That's my quick answer. Don't react with violence. So, also I see a question. So it's asking me to post the link again. So Belinda, it's build the Ark. Oh, thank you, Builder Babe. Yeah, buildtheark.com. Yes, buildtheark.com. And okay, Grave Logic. Do you believe they will fake an alien invasion? Project Bluebeam, new here. Welcome if you're new. I hope you stick around, come back. So there's a good chance of it. Yes, there is a good chance of it that we will have some sort of fake alien invasion. They're seeding it already. So yeah, I think so. I think Project Bluebeam is a real thing, and who knows what's going to happen with that. So yes. So Sid Canoe, Seth Holhouse is the cutting edge interviewer of the entire paradigm shift. I just signed in to say that, and thank you, Seth and family. Thank you, Sid Canoe. I really appreciate that. I really, really, really appreciate that. Yeah, Papa Cough Drop. I wish I had some. We have some really good Manuka honey cough drops. Yeah, which I should have had those down here. Yeah. So Mafia Matters, Seth. Actually, yeah, you're right. So Lena, honey onion. Yeah, we've actually got honey onion up in the. That's what we use for our cough syrup for the kids. Is we use. It's kind of gross, but yeah, you basically soak onions in honey for a long time, and you pull the onions out, and then you're left with this honey onion, which is a great cough syrup. I could get some after that. Yeah, don't take the blue meth. I agree. I've had methylene blue before. I've taken it. I don't anymore. It's synthetic, and so yeah, I try my best to avoid synthetic stuff. It's a whole different story. Let's see. Oh, someone asked me a question about college. Yeah, Mafia Matters. Seth, do you have a take on college education or how to fix education with respect to Charlie Kirk's take? I can't say that I have the magic kind of bullet for education. I mean, we're homeschooling our daughters, so that kind of is reflected in my belief of education. I think that my goal is to teach my girls just how to be entrepreneurs. I don't think that people need education, a college education, to be honest. I think it's much better to go into the workforce. But I honestly think the most important skill that people can learn is actually just self-reliance and entrepreneurship, and learn how to sell, learn how to build businesses, not big businesses, just small businesses. We need more entrepreneurs. So that's kind of my perspective on college. I think that, yeah. That's it. That's my quick perspective. Viv B, what does it taste like? I forget. It doesn't taste good. It tastes kind of chemically, but also it turns your pee blue. That was a weird thing, actually. Is it? Yeah. It when you take methylene blue, like you literally your urine is blue. It's a very weird thing. So yeah, it's I don't recommend it. That's just my only take. And part of the reason why I don't recommend it is actually, so Dr. Robert Young, who is in prison right now, I think I'm doing an interview with him. He published some information about it, and he said it's really, really bad. And he's one of the doctors I respect a lot. I've got his masterpiece. So, again, I'm very hesitant about recommending methylene blue. So yeah, Monkey Works, Marty Huff. I occasionally watch Monkey Works, not as often these days. I've mostly been listening to audiobooks lately. But yeah, he's got a great channel. He's has some really good stuff. Yeah. Also, yeah, Deborah, NASA is fake. Don't believe anything that comes from them. I agree with that. I think NASA is about as real as the Smithsonian in terms of their kind of agenda, or like the Cancer Society trying to find a cure for cancer. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't trust NASA, not at all. Yeah, Hobbit, learn how to communicate, deal with each other, not on a phone. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Pistol Pete, kids need to be taught how to say and stay out of debt. I agree. Absolutely, I agree. I agree with that completely. Someone else asking, what does the honey onion taste like? It's actually not bad. Honey onion, it just tastes like it's just kind of honey with an onion taste to it. It's like my 4-year-old, we give it to her whenever she has a cough, and she never complains about it. It's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Teffy, who says, my son just graduated with a bachelor's degree and owes $135,000. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I just finished paying off my college debt about a year ago. I think that when I went to college, the tuition was $100,000 for 4 years. I went to a private art school. Went to Columbus College of Art Design. Pardon me. I had a half ride scholarship. Based on my portfolio. So I had a half ride scholarship. So I owed $50,000. It took me, 15, 20 years to pay off that $50,000 college debt. Not cool. Not cool at all. Yeah, Gitmo needs a Smithsonian wing. Yeah, Bender Rocks, you nailed it. So, all right, well, I do think that I'm going to wrap up, everyone. This has been absolutely wonderful. It's so wonderful having such an active crowd on here. A lot of the shows I do that are that I put out live, they're pre-recorded lives. It's an easier schedule. It's not as easy to be up this late and do these, but I'm going to try my best to do at least one of these shows a week. There's no promises, but I really do. I'm going to try to do at least one of these shows a week where I just get a chance to talk to you, because I love this. I absolutely love it. So thank you for the donation, Holtz Call. I don't know what Krato is. I'll look into it. I'm not familiar with it, but yeah. So I'm gonna start doing more of these shows. I'm also, we're figuring out how to do call-ins. So I want to start doing call-ins because I'd love to talk to you. So that's something we're also planning. Let me know what you think. Actually, let me know in the chat if you'd like that, because I want to start doing more. Pardon me, just more stuff where I'm interacting with all of you. So again, let me know what you think in the chat, because yeah, I want to start doing call-ins, because I think it'd be great just to hear from you. Because honestly, like, I love sitting here. There's 3,000 people watching just on YouTube, just on Rumble, and I love being able to sit here with you and just have these conversations. So I want to be doing more and more of this stuff. And kind of, I tend to be more of a hermit. Even though I have a podcast, I'm a very public figure. I'm very, very introverted in many ways, but I'm also very extroverted as well. So, when you get me out of my cave, out of my whole house, then I have some fun. Yeah, Flat Earth. I see some Flat Earth discussions. I did a 3-hour interview with Flat Earth Dave a couple of years ago. It was a wild interview. So. I won't get into that, but it was a fun interview. Sonia 7251, she asked me, do you think Trump is aware of everything we talked about tonight? I think he's aware of a lot more than we think, but simultaneously, I think that he's not aware of as much as we think as well. So yeah, I guess that's I know a lot of people that are very close to Trump, and his family. And I talk to these people very regularly. And I can tell you that, he's not, I think, what you think. Especially the people think that, that he's got, anyway, I won't get into it. But yeah, I think he knows a lot more than we think. I also think he doesn't know as much as we think. It's the best answer I can give you. Yeah, Teffy, you're not on LFA anymore. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to that. I think because my schedule was too erratic for them. Because I'm an artist. I have a hard time with schedules, and so I think they want like people that are more like, hey, 5 days a week, every time, every whatever. So that's just kind of how I am. I just I'm a very just free guy, so I don't do well. So anyway, yeah, Donna Via Chow, Seth Fam, blessings. Bender Rocks, live chats are one of the rare places where folks can connect. I agree. But also, again, I will remind you, make sure that you sign up, Ark Community. Because, the cool thing on there is you can direct message me on there. So if you want to talk to me, I'm on there, right? Like the Ark Community is going to be the place that we can connect and have complete privacy. And so I will give you more information. So sign up. Kind of just put your email in there to learn more about it. I will tell you one thing is that the Ark Community, it is going to be a paid community. However, we're opening up at $1 a month. You can pay whatever it's kind of like you pay whatever you want, but I was going to make it completely free because I want the information that we're putting in there to get to as many people as possible. However, when you make something free, you end up with trolls and bots and AI bots and everything. So I thought, okay, what's the next best thing? I was like, hey, make it so that, look, you can pay $10 a month if you want to, you can pay $1 a month if you want to, right? Because it wasn't about like making it cost prohibitive. So anyway, we'll give you all those details on there, but just sign up for it. You'll get the information on it. And so, yeah, make sure you do though. Buildtheark.com. It's in the description. Buildtheark.com. And yeah, live free or perish. I agree. Call-ins are great, but a limited time place on the callers. Yes. And that's what I'm good at. I'm good at cutting people off, right? So even though I'm a very patient interviewer, I will make sure that if we do call-ins, I'm not going to let someone get on there and ramble for 20 minutes. I'm going to cut them off and say, thank you. I'm not going to be Alex Jones level of cutoff, but I'll be good with that. So, all right. Well, I think that we can call it a night now. Yeah, I appreciate so much everyone being here. Thank you for being on this journey. Again, reminder to make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Yeah, I'll be. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Check out some of my past videos. I cover. I'm very just open-minded. I'm a very free thinker. I cover a lot of alternative medicine, holistic medicine. A lot of stuff exposing Big Pharma and the Rockefellers. I dig into conspiracy stuff. I talk about geopolitics. But a lot of what I do is I just give you my thoughts on what I'm processing. And, I show you my process. Like that's the thing is I never want to tell you what to think. What I do is if there's a breaking event or something, I'll just say, hey, here's my research. You can draw your own conclusion. You're smart. You don't need me telling you what to think. But I'll show you how I think, and maybe you'll take something away from that. So I think that you'll really enjoy it. So anyway, thank you all so much. It's been wonderful being here with all of you. I can't wait to do this again, one of these live shows. I absolutely love this, and I'm so grateful that you're all here in the chat. So again, make sure you subscribe. My shows are always at 10 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you subscribe, your notifications on, so you can come join the next time. And yeah, so. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. God bless you. God bless America. Take care.